touch a little more on this class because it's got a little bit more versatility. In the loadout, you're going to have different rocket launchers. Okay, now there are actually 3 of them. I have not purchased the 3rd one because I don't use it all that often. The first rocket launcher that you have is called the Shrike. It's an unguided missile that dumbfires. Okay, it's got high explosive warheads and has both anti-personnel and anti-armor capabilities. So if you have this Shrike equipped and you walk into a room with 10 guys and you blast this thing, it's going to do some splash damage. You're going to hurt them a little bit. Whereas the Crow, it's an anti-tank auto-firing. So it's got a lock-on. You're going to lock on to a tank with this, and it's going to chase that tank down and hit it, within range. Now this is only effective against armor. So if you basically run into a room and shoot a guy in the face with this, if you can hit him in the face, you've got him. He's dead. You miss by an inch, it's going to go right by him. And you'll notice that there's a different here because it's got a dumbfire mode. And this is a single shot. And this has got what they call dumbfire. But you'll notice how the accuracy and the reload speed and the damage didn't change. There's a reason for that. They don't want to be more powerful than any other rocket, so they try and make them all the same. Now, the cool part about the Crow is the thing I like about it more than the Shrike is the Shrike does more damage as far as personnel, anti-personnel, but the Crow has the ability to not only lock onto tanks, but you can dumbfire this. So you can use it just like the Shrike against a tank, against the aircraft, against something standing in front of you or blocking your path. So that gives it a little bit more versatility. Now the other one is called the Hawk. Now the Hawk rocket launcher, which I can show you really fast. This is the Hawk rocket launcher right here. Basically, it's an advanced heat signature detecting in dynamics. It's basically a guided missile launcher for aircraft. Okay. Now, the reason that I choose not to use that is because it's more of a deterrent than it is effective. Let's say you're on top of a pad and you're defending a base and you've got air coming in. You equip this Hawk and you lock onto an air target. Chances are that that pilot, if he's any good, has either surted into flares or smoke. And what he's going to do is he's going to flare as soon as you lock on. He's going to pull away. Your missile's going to miss. By the time you reload, he's already reloaded his flares or his smoke by that time, which then gives you the feeling of this thing's useless, there's no point in using it. However, it does have a use. When you lock on, you cause that aircraft to not only deploy his flares and or his smoke, but you're going to cause him to pull off. He's going to pull out of there in fear that he's going to get hit by this rocket. Now let's say you have 2 or 3 buddies sitting there and you lock on with that Hawk. He deploys his smoke or his flares. He's going to pull out of there and take off. Now once he gets a certain range away from that smoke or those flares, after about 5 seconds, it takes him about 15 to 20 seconds to reload that, but it only takes 5 seconds for him to get out of range of it. So if you have a few other buddies there with Hawks and you're all locked on at the same time, all they have to do is wait until he's clear of that. Bam, you got him. That's one effective use of it. The other effective use of it is if you're by yourself and there's a bunch of guys up on a pad defending and you see this aircraft come in, you lock onto him. He's going to pull out of there, giving your guys a chance to survive. Going to give you more of a chance of not getting, torn up by the rocket launchers that these things can throw down at you. And so I recommend the Hawk for that purpose. Other than that, I use the Crow. Because knowing me, if I'm running around as a heavy and I got this Crow, I'm slamming tanks, but if I run out of tanks to shoot, I'm going to be hopping around trying to shoot aircraft if they get close enough. Now this thing does have a fast firing weapon. It can also equip the Mauler, which is the shotgun that I was using earlier. This is your default Gauss. Now I have upgraded to the E1 or EM1 because if you notice the difference here between the fire rate and the reload reload speed, it is much faster. Yes, I take a little hit with the damage and the accuracy, but I gain reload speed and fire rate, which allows me to fire faster, which means I can do more damage. And the last class that I'm going to show you as far as people is the Mech Suit. Now this is the brunt beast of any faction. This thing is awesome. It does cost resources to equip this. That is something they have changed in this new game here. Now, there's not a whole lot of certs currently available for this vehicle, or it's not a vehicle, I'm sorry, for this class. But they have actually unlocked 3 defense skills here. You got your kinetic armor, you got your nano armor accelerator, which basically repairs your armor. But if you get damaged, it stops your repair and you cannot be repaired for 15 seconds. And then you have the flak armor. Now the utilities they have unlocked are the charge skill and this new ammo storage canister, which just basically it takes the place of the charge ability, but it gives you additional ammo magazines of any type. And then you have your passive system, which they just put this in as well, which gives you a decreased acquisition timer. So you can insert into this thing, reducing the amount of time it takes you. Let's say you equip this thing, and you go out into battle and you die. It's on a timer, it's on a cooldown, so you can't equip this class again until it cools down, and you have to have a certain amount of resources to equip it. But that is the only class that does that. The other ones of these you can change at your leisure. Now this thing has a few different weapons, okay? I only have the scatter cannon and the default stuff unlocked because I haven't inserted into this thing a whole lot. But these are your 3 basic types. Let me see and make sure I'm not, wrong and they haven't added something new here. Okay, they haven't added anything back in, so we're still with our default weapons here. Okay. So, the Mech Suit has a scatter cannon. This is your basic shotgun. I mean, this thing is awesome. You walk into a room, and there's some infantry there, and you hit him in the face with this shotgun, you're going to own him. I mean, he's done. So, these were like the big talk when this game first came out, and everybody complained about how OP they were. They are nice. I like them. That's why I run around with one on my arm. Your primary right-hand weapon, you can have a Scat Max if you want, which is what this one is. We call it Scat Max because this is a Mech Suit and this is a Scat Cannon. So if you have a Scat here and a Scat here, you're a dual scatter. They call this a Scat Max at that point. But basically on the right hand, I have an anti-vehicle, and this is a Falcon. And this thing launches basically like anti-vehicle shells. It is very slow firing, but you can fire up to 3 grenades before you have to reload. Now I think there's like a 2 or 3 second delay between each grenade launch, but it is effective if you can hit the tank. Now if you put 2 of these on there, you can pretty much do pretty well against infantry or vehicles. However, I would not recommend carrying 2 of these unless you're supported by at least 2 engineers and a few other troops around you to protect you, because these things fire so slow and they have a low ammo capacity. And here is your burster, and this burster is an anti-air weapon. So basically you equip 2 of these on a Mech Suit and you can take out aircraft pretty well, as long as you can aim. It has a very long range, fast reload speed, fire rate is slow, decent, to okay damage, and a great accuracy. So there you have the Max. You have your anti-infantry, your anti-air, and your anti-vehicle. So there's your Scat Max, or I'm sorry, your Mech Suit. I keep calling it Scat Max because that's what I run around as usually. But there's your Mech Suit, and then it's got a melee, which is your basic punching ability. Instead of having a knife, you have a punch, and then you have your charge ability here. Now all this stuff will be unlocked. These are just basically appearance. So you can equip a helmet, different kind of helmet up here, different chest plate armor, different kind of camo, or different decals, things of that nature. It's all going to be released when the game is released. So now we've made it past the class tab, let's move on to the fun part. We have vehicles. Now comes the fun part. The Flash. This is an ATV, and it does have loadouts. You can equip things on this. Okay, currently I have nothing equipped because I don't use this thing unless I have to get from point A to point B, so I really don't drive this thing that much. But you can equip it. You see that cannon there? That's for the Sunder, so don't mind that. That's for this thing right here. Okay. This is the ATV, also known as the Flash. It's a quick way to get from point A to point B if you get stuck somewhere. I'm going to skip over the Sunder and we'll come back to that because I'm going to actually show you guys that one. Now this is the Lightning Tank. Now every faction, all three of them, have this exact same tank, just different colors. And it has different loadouts and different skill trees and things like that. So here's your skill trees. You can buy different weapons for this. You can equip different things on this over here in the loadout screen. Right now I have this HE, which is a high explosive anti-tank round. It's effective against infantry and armor, but not against air. But this is what I have equipped. It does very low damage, but it has a very high fire rate and a decent reload speed. So each faction has this tank. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this because this tank is more effective when you purchase. I'm going to go over here to the vehicles and show you here. Oops. Vehicles. Then you go here to the Lightning. When you purchase this Sky Guard, which is like a very, very fast fire rate, this is an anti-air thing. These tanks with the Sky Guard are unstoppable if they have support on the ground and can be protected. These things will tear through sky, anything in the air, like it's not even there. You also have your basic high explosive rounds. You have your heat, which does high explosive anti-tank rounds, and it inflicts very good damage against the ground targets. And you also have the Python armor piercing rounds. Each of these heads will have to be changed and equipped on your vehicle right here in the loadout screen. So it's versatile. It's got a few uses. It's got low armor, so this thing takes a rocket and a behind. It's pretty much going to take the majority of your health. But you can insert into defense slots here where you have, front armor, top armor, side armor, mine guards, things of that nature. So you can insert into all that. This is the Vanguard. This is the bad boy beast of the NC. Now, this is NC specific, so you can only equip this or drive this if you're on the NC side. And it does have a cannon on top. Currently it has the Basilisk, but this can be changed and upgraded. You can buy different things for that. And so each of the three factions has a different heavy tank. This is the Vanguard, which is the NC. The Terran Republic have the Prowler, and the Vanu Sovereignty have the Mag Rider. Each of these tanks is very different in a lot of different ways. First and foremost, the skill of the Vanguard, once unlocked, is the shield. They can deploy a shield around it temporarily for a few seconds. I think it's like 5 seconds for the shield. The Prowler has a faster fire rate, and you go toe-to-toe with a Prowler, and that Prowler is deployed, you will more than likely lose because it can fire 4 rounds in the time it takes you to fire 2. Because deployed, the Prowler gets to fire 2 shells instead of 1 at the same time because it has twin cannons. The Mag Rider is the most versatile vehicle in the game. This thing can go just about anywhere. It can climb up cliffs, it can climb over hills, rocks, just about anything. I mean, this thing will go halfway up a cliff before it has to stop. So that's a little bit about the tanks. And then you get to the aircrafts here. This is your basic Reaver. Again, this is NC specific. The Reaver is the NC's basic ship. The Terran Republic have a Mosquito, which is similar to this. It's a little easier to control the Mosquito than it is this thing, but not too much of a difference battle-wise. And now the Vanu have what they call the Scythe. The Scythe is by far my favorite aircraft next to the Galaxy to fly, because the Scythe is so versatile. You can basically turn this thing completely vertical and hit an enemy directly below you and not hit the ground. I mean, this thing's ability is unreal, and some of these guys who pilot it are so good, and it's unreal. But enough about that. Again, you have different things you can equip, like you have the flares, and right now I have the Mustang equipped because that's all I haven't started into anything else again, because I don't use this thing that often except for to fly around trolling people. And if you look at some of the other videos that I have posted, you'll see me flying around in this thing, just having fun, you know, shooting things. Next, you have the Liberator, which is much like the Lightning for every faction. Every faction has this exact same thing. Now, this thing has 3 cannons. On the very front, it has your primary vector, which is your machine gun. On the bottom, it has a shredder, and all these can be changed and equipped once you start into them. But this is the shredder. It's going to be your secondary weapon on the very bottom. And then you have the tail gun, which is the Basilisk. And these things are kind of versatile. You have to play around with these things and have some fun with them after you start into them and things of that nature. And last, but certainly not least, you have the Galaxy. Galaxy is your hot drop bus. This thing is fun. And sorry about all that background noise, but apparently some people are deciding to shoot around while I'm trying to. But anyways, this is your Galaxy. It has a Basilisk cannon here. It has a Basilisk cannon here. It has a Basilisk cannon here. And it has one more right here. This thing will hold 12 people. And you can hot drop. Basically, you can fly this over your enemy base and just drop people in and continue to fly out, pick up another platoon, drop them in, that kind of thing. It's kind of fun. I'm very good at flying these things, and they're a blast to fly around in. And I forgot that I wanted to show you guys the Sunder. Sunderer, now I'm going to unequip all this stuff because this is what I've pretty much started into for the most part. I can leave that on because I didn't change anything. But anyways, when you start off here, you're going to have your standard Basilisk cannons on this thing. Okay, this is your basic Sunder right here. Now I've started into this bad boy because I run around with this a lot. This is a deployable vehicle. So you can basically deploy this in the battlefield, and if you and your team die, they can spawn on this. And so what I've done is I've taken the primary weapon and I've upgraded it to the M60 Bulldog. This thing is beast. This thing will lob a shell in the middle of everything and do, you know, some decent damage. I've also equipped it with a zoom scope, which allows my members who are firing the mortar itself to zoom into their target. I have also increased the reload speed so it reloads faster, which if you notice up top right here, it really doesn't do much. And the ammo capacity, I've upgraded that to an extra 150 rounds. And now when I go back and I equip it now, you're still going to notice it hasn't changed anything. And on the second cannon, I've upgraded to the M40 Fury, which is an anti-tank weapon. And again, zoom optics, the reload speed, and the ammo capacity. This thing will shred a tank now. So if a tank pulls up next to me, chances are if he's alone, he's dead. But just to be more cautious, I went ahead and I've bought the blockade armor, which if you look here is a standard armor, which basically reinforces the Sunder itself. So now we have this reinforced armor, which gives me I can take a little bit more of a beating now. Now the utility that I've equipped is the advanced system, which basically allows this thing to deploy and to where you guys can spawn on it. And I've increased the top speed of this. So that's the Sunder. And I'm going to go ahead and show this one to you here momentarily, but let me finish with this down here. And this is your social tab. Now this is where it gets confusing for a lot of people and they don't understand this, so I want to explain this pretty well. Now, currently we are not in a squad because I'm the only member on right now, and the rest of my guys, I have told them that I'm doing this video, so they're waiting on me patiently. So I don't have a squad started up. But when you click on the squad, it shows you a list of available squads that you can join. Now if you have friends or an outfit, you can simply just click the button and it'll bring up your outfit that you're in. And if there's a squad going, then you just join it. Same with friends. If you have friends on and they're in a squad, you can join on them. Or you can invite somebody to form your own squad. The outfit is the in-game clan or guild, and apparently I only have one member on right now. But you have your message of the day up here, you have your outfit tag right here, and then you have your members. And so you have your list of members here, and there are different ranks in here. You have recruit. Now these things I have changed. I've changed the names of these, and you can do that with your clan or outfit, or you're like I said, you're more than welcome to join our outfit or give another one a shot. And again, over here it just shows your basic rank of the character. So when you've leveled up and I've given you the next level, you get your next level of rank there. Go ahead and move on to the friends tab here, and it shows your friends that are online, it shows your friends that are offline. And basically when you want to invite, you can click this little arrow here on the right hand side, and you can remove friend, you can send your friend a message, or you can invite the friend to squad. You can do it that way as well. And the same thing with the outfit here. It's got a little arrow next to it. You can click it and you can remove from squad, invite to squad, or send a message. Communications is basically your chat box blown up. Okay, so if you want to talk to somebody or whatever, you can in here. You also have people over here, and I want you to remember this page and how to get here, because in game there's a proximity chat, and sometimes these guys blare their radio or start just talking about random stuff. And you can simply just click on the microphone next to their name and mute them. Okay? Notifications are basically when someone sends you a friend request or a squad invite. They can pop up in here, but they will pop up over here with a little F12 button icon flashing, and you can hit that as well, which will bring you to the screen. They've also implemented two video type features here. They've got the video for YouTube, so you can upload a video from the game directly in the game straight to your YouTube account. I've opted to not do this for this particular video because there's no voice chat currently in this YouTube, so you guys wouldn't be able to hear me talking. It would just be a bunch of me spinning my mouse around in circles and pointing at stuff. There's also a Twitch link, which I have one of those as well, which is actually what I'm feeding to right now. I'm feeding it to the Twitch, and then I'll be uploading it to the YouTube so you guys can watch it. And that's basically all there is for this menu here. And you have your cert menu here, like I said before. Now, this is my recommendation. So I'm going to throw this out there. This is not a requirement. This is not something you have to do, but this is something that I highly recommend. The first few cert points you spend, you want to spend them in leadership. Click on squad leader. It's going to pull up. You only have one tab, and it's only got 5 current certs. The first thing you want to cert into is this right here. It costs 50 cert points, and it's the spawn beacon cert that I showed you before, where you can throw that thing down and your squad members can spawn on you. Now, if you're new to the game and you're running around in a squad or outfit, this is not required. So you can hold off on doing this. But if you're going to run around leading your own squad, this is a must. Because when you unlock this, you unlock the next section here, which means that you can request offense and defensive support by placing markers on the map. And you have to unlock that to unlock this, which allows you to set 4 additional waypoints for your squad or platoon members to see. Once you've finished unlocking all of these, you can unlock Command Rank 3, which basically allows you access to the command channel, which allows you to basically push a button and talk to every other squad leader in the game who has unlocked this, which is very handy for coordinating platoon and squad attacks. So if my squad's pinned down and we're getting overwhelmed or outnumbered, I can push a button and say, hey, I need reinforcements at such and such, bring me in some air, blah blah blah, and they'll take care of that for me. You know, at least the majority of them will. And then you also have the second in the squad rank 3 here, which allows the squad leaders to set priority objectives for you to attack and defend, which is pretty much the same thing this is, only it gives your squad orders with different colored markers. And then you have the command rank 4, which it reduces the spawn timer, you know, once, twice, 3, 4 times. And here's the big dog. Once this is fully released, this number is going to change and be something similar to this. This will probably be around 500 to 800, somewhere in that. This is basically will allow the squad leader to call down an area-wide artillery fire, which will be awesomely epic when it happens. So look into that. But again, the only one you really need to worry about right now is Command Rank 1. Let me go ahead and go back here. Now over here you can see the resources that I've gained. The aerospace, I have 750. Now, the max is 750, so it's maxed out here. Mechanized is 543. Because I'm not playing, I'm not gaining anything right now. And here's the store. The store is very easy to use. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't confuse yourself. You have infantry weapons and you have vehicle weapons. And you have customizations for each of the two. You can buy your boosts here. And the portal is just basically what we're locking here. And it shows you the most popular selling weapon right now. You got your infantry weapons, which you can buy, or you can, over here, you can select, oh, I want to look for a weapon for the infiltrator. You click on that, and now you're only looking for the infiltrator weapons. You know, and that's the same with every class. You'll see with the engineer, I've unlocked pretty much everything except for the new weapons that they just implemented. Like, they just put these 3 in, or these 4 in. I think that's better than the pistol I have, actually. I may end up buying that. But anyways, so that's your store there. And then you have the vehicle weapons, which you can buy for basically any class. And you look at my Sunder. I have my primary. These 2 weapons I haven't unlocked because I'm not using them for my primary. And these 2 I'm not using for my secondary, so I didn't unlock them. So I don't need them. So this is your basic store. And now I'm going to give you a brief display of how the actual game itself works. First, let me check and see who's on here. Okay, just still, so don't worry about that. Okay. And so here is the warp gate. So when you spawn in after you've played the game a while, you're going to spawn in either this tube, or this tube, and this is the warp gate. Okay? This is the NC's new warp gate. So I'll give you a brief run here. Give me 1 second. I got to check something. Okay, sorry about that. Somebody's giving me a message in TeamSpeak here. So this is the NC Warp Gate. Now when you spawn in, you're going to notice these 2 terminals. You're going to have one here on the left, and you have one over there on the right. Those are the world transferring stations. You just hit E on it, and you can see that indicated when you walk up. It tells you to press E to access the Warp Gate. So you push E. And it's going to show you the 3 warp gates here. And I'm going to go over to Esmir because that's usually where I play. Because it's pretty much the NC controlled area for right now. And again, once you spawn in, you're going to spawn in the warp gate. Here's the warp gate. Now, basic functionality. A, D, S, W are your basic movement keys. Left control is your crouch button. Shift is your sprint button. Reload is to reload your weapon. And you can cycle the mouse, your middle mouse button. If you look on the right hand side of your screen there, you can cycle through your different weapons. And again, here's the turret that I was telling you guys about earlier. And if you hit B, it's going to turn into an ammo pack. See the ammo pack there? Yeah. And so it's going to resupply you. You can also set a turret, which is, this is the basic mana turret. Again, anti-infantry. You can also get to these by hitting the number 1, the number 2, the number 3, number 4, and number 5. And if you guys are wondering what this is C4. It's just the detonator. Now if you notice, my HUD is in the middle of the screen. See right there on the right hand side? That's my ammo. I have changed that in the settings, and that's very easy to do. You can hit escape and click right over here where it says settings on the bottom right. Then you have your, general things here.